Right now, ahead of the alt season, I've built up positions in altcoins using half of my balance, which I've mentioned on my channel. And right now, I'm in the market, half in Bitcoin and half in altcoins. My strategy for long-term trading is pretty simple. It's about staying in the trend. It is clear that the trend is upward, even despite some rollbacks, I am in the market. If the trend is downward or changes to downward, then accordingly, I will have to exit the market. If you're following a similar strategy, I'll share a simple hack on how you can select coins for your alt portfolio to buy for your crypto account ahead of the alt season. Plus, I'll talk about which coins I've picked. By the way, let's start with the coins that I've added to my portfolio, or at least considered. They are marked with flags right here, and you can see them on your screen now. Plus, I'll talk about which coins I've picked. By the way, let's start perhaps with these coins that I took into my portfolio, or at least looked at. They are marked here with flags. You can see them now on your screen. For the last 2 years, I've been trading on the Bybit exchange. This is the top platform in terms of trading volume and liquidity, which means your orders will be executed here at the best prices with minimal slippage. Just by doing this, you'll save several $100s a month compared to trading on any other exchange. In addition, there are low fees here, and by registering through my referral link in the description, you'll receive a bonus ranging from $50 to $30,000 depending on the size of your deposit. Right now, click the link in the description, then hit that button and check out the size of the bonus you'll get for registering. On average, my subscribers receive about $100 for registering on the Bybit exchange, but if you have a large deposit and corresponding trading volume, you can get up to $30,000 as a bonus. The link is below. Register. It will take just a few minutes. First of all, Ethereum, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Monero. These coins, as you can see, are marked with green flags. That means I like them the most for the alt season. Let's start in order. Ethereum is one of the top coins that hasn't skyrocketed along with Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin was at $60,000 at that moment and was trading in a small channel like this, now it has broken out of there, then Ethereum is roughly at the same levels. So imagine if Bitcoin were currently priced at $60,000, well, Ethereum would be at similar values. There's potential for a breakout upwards, and according to this huge pattern, the alt season is just going to shoot up quickly. Moving on, Litecoin is one of the coins I marked with green flags, but it's probably the weakest one. Even though the pattern here is really good, with significant higher lows, it's the only coin that I liked that didn't manage to hold above the key levels. Litecoin is marked with green flags, but it's the weakest. The pattern is good with higher lows, but it didn't hold above key levels. For Litecoin, level 113 was key, but it's now back inside the pattern. I'm pulling up a larger chart now. For example, for Litecoin, it was level 113 and coin, although it consolidated above it, is currently trading again within this pattern. Nevertheless, that doesn't change the fact that I'm going to pull up larger chart right now. That doesn't change the fact that the global setup here is excellent, and the potential from a technical standpoint only materializes when it breaks out of this pattern and holds above it. Well, let's calculate a few 100% from the current price. 130, yes, that means it's up to 2.5. Well, during the alt season, it's clear that the breakout will be above the overall highs, and you can estimate the potential there as well. More than $1,000 for Litecoin, so a 10x return wouldn't surprise me at all, even from Litecoin. The potential here is clear. Bitcoin Cash is one of those coins that the bottom in 2022 and hasn't dropped below that level. At a time when many coins were crashing, everything was fine for it. I also like this coin in terms of its potential. At the time when many coins were falling here, everything was normal. And I also like this coin in terms of its potential. Let me show you an old chart so you can understand what was happening on the left side. And I also showed you the potential here in one of the previous episodes, breaking out of this downtrend. I'll break it. The nearest level is at $800. And by the way, when it breaks the $800 mark, that's exactly the case for the new exchanges where there hasn't been any history. It will be an all-time high. And where will it fly to? Well, roughly up to the previous high. 2021 during the alt season. Well, that's $1,500 from the current price. That's plus 250%, so you could make about 3.5 times your investment. And I wouldn't say that these are the targets for the alt season, because the targets for the alt season will be above the previous highs. The potential is huge. Monero is a coin that I've marked with a green flag, but I didn't go long on it because what I'm showing you now, I took all of that on spot. Monero is not available on the spot market, on the exchange where I trade. It's available on futures, and you can go long there with a first leverage, but I didn't do that. Still, I built this kind of crypto portfolio on the spot market at the door of the alt season. Of course, it will change for me depending on what the coin shows. Some will drop, some will rise, and maybe some new setups will emerge. Just to remind you, I only partially entered the alt season a bit early. So, I like Monero. It has a global setup with rising lows, despite the fact that it has been delisted from many top exchanges here because it's an anonymous coin, and exchanges aren't allowed to hold it or conduct any transactions with it. Even despite that, as you can see, there are rising lows here, a huge setup in case of an alt season and new highs. There's huge potential here, and Monero could reach thousands of dollars, but that's really the potential for the highs of the alt season. Before this, just based on the technicals, here's the setup that exists even on new exchanges like Bybit. Well, there's potential for a couple of 100% even without the alt season, just based on the technical setup. Let's move on. The coins that I've marked with a red flag are Ether Classic and Dash. I didn't take them into account, but I really like the setups here too. And why didn't I take them? Because they grew vertically. So let's take a look at the same Ether Classic. It shot up vertically, doubling without any pullback. Yeah, it has corrected now. Yeah, the correction there is at 34%, but in any case, pay attention to the key level. Here it is. For Ether Classic, it was around 39.40, which is the range it rolled back from. So, when a coin is pressed towards the level, gradually, progressively, with some ascending lows, well, accordingly, the more such touches, the more likely a breakout at the level is. So, it's exactly at these moments that I like to build my positions in advance. I really like this. I avoid vertical approaches. Building a position just before a level, hoping for a breakout, could lead to a 30-40% loss of balance even without leverage. I try to avoid vertical approaches. So, let's say I had built a position just before it touched that level, hoping for some kind of breakout, but what would have happened? Well, I would have ended up with a loss of 30-40% of my balance even without leverage. Why don't I like vertical approaches? Because whenever we deal with vertical approaches to the level, it almost never breaks through. Yes, there are situations where you can find on the left side of the chart that a level was broken and then they continued to rise vertically, but that's absolutely unpredictable and not systematic. Most often it pulls back like this. You always need some kind of gradual approach, so that didn't happen in the case of Ether Classic. Even though the pattern is really good, yeah, I'll show you that too. Like this, on a global scale, notice that we've been hanging out down here, we're standing here. Yeah, here's the first alt season, the second alt season, and the ascending lows. Just step by step. It's like a general squeeze towards the all-time high. Well, the potential is clear, right? Go to the high, to the maximum. And this general pattern is generally beautiful. In the moment, what's being drawn here, but again, I didn't take the coin because of the vertical rise, and I want to say the exact same thing about Dash 2. Look, it had a vertical rise. Sure, there was a significant pullback of about 50% here, but in any case, this increased volatility doesn't interest me, and I don't need it. Because of this, I didn't take the coin for my little crypto portfolio for this alt season. The potential here is big. Yeah, even coming from a downtrend, we've broken out of all these slopes and established ourselves above. So let me also show you a chart from exchanges that have some history on the left side, and you can see that I even had some level drawn from 2017 or so, and we reached it exactly like support. We're trading in this range, we reached the nearest resistance level, and what's the potential here for the alt season? Well, I don't even know. Maybe there won't be any super breakout above the previous highs from the last alt season, but it will definitely approach these highs. How much is that? Monero. Well, I don't actually think that the alt season mark of 150 will stop this coin, right? 3.5. Here, we'll most likely break out from this slope too. Looks a lot like Bitcoin Cash, right? Here it is. Slope. Here, there might also be a breakout from this slope. Well, somewhere around here. Why not? These are very roughly grounded targets. There's a 5x. Why not? Well, once again, I didn't want to take this coin because of the vertical rise. Something might change in the near future. And I still have, as I said, half left for building positions. Here's another one. Let me show you Omisgo. I marked GMT with this purple flag. I marked it with a purple flag. These are risky coins that have simply fallen to zero and no one needs them at all. Such coins, and just because they are extremely cheap, practically pushed to zero, right? If you take away the logarithmic chart, they can just bounce back like a dead cat and give huge percentages, especially during alt season. Why not? And by the way, look, GMT is down 0.5% today, while a number of other coins like, I don't know, some Bake, yes, are down 7%. Blur is down 7% today. This API 3 is down 10% in a day, while GMT's pinned 1, seemingly useless to anyone, is down only 0.5%. Well, a lot. And Monero, by the way, isn't dropping at all today. It's performing well in the green zone. Yeah, there you go. Once again, so you can see these percentages, I'm showing you all of this on the left. So I've talked about my positions. Now let's move on to the universal rule of which coins to consider for opening longs during alt season and what strategy you should use to trade so that these rules can bring in good profits. First of all, we need to look at altcoins against Bitcoin, meaning pairs like ETH, BTC, ADA, BTC, and so on. This is how we compile a list of altcoins. And just go through them to see if the price is forming some kind of bottom pattern with a reversal above the moving averages. That is, if we look at the Ether, it most likely does not fit our current definition. I took it simply because it is a top coin that is lagging far behind the market. It hasn't really taken off. However, note that there is no bottom or trend reversal pattern here. There's still a long way to go before a potential trend reversal, so Ethereum in this case doesn't fit the general rule. I took it more as an exception to the rule rather than a rule itself. Let me show you what fits our rule. Ah yes, it fits our rule. It showed a bottom here and reversed. You see, moving averages can help us determine the trend, right? If we don't see it, well, we can draw trend lines and see where the price is consolidating. For example, Dash looks like this right now. You just saw that. So yes, hell broke through, but hell has already flown away. So we obviously don't take what's already taken off. Why would you buy some ADA that has already given us multiples when there's, say, Bitcoin Cash, which, by the way, hasn't reversed yet, but the pattern here is excellent. You see, there's already volatility here. There's no serious decline anymore, and buyers are starting to show up. At the moment, it's a bit of a weak coin, but it's showing a good setup against the dollar. This is also more of an exception to the rule, which is why I included it in my portfolio. But in any case, we do have a pattern here. And take a closer look. Add it to your watch list if you want to catch something like this 100% in the altcoin season, for example, with Bitcoin Cash. An excellent entry point would be when the price crosses the moving average, like right here. This would indicate that the probability of reaching this point is 100%, but most likely this level won't hold either. There's a zone collapsing, it's going to shoot up high. Okay, let me show you the coins that are already breaking their trends. This is Dash, this is Dash. Here they are, you see the moving averages. You can see how the price is consolidating above them, and then there's a spike followed by a retest of those same moving averages. And now it's recovering back. If you're not using moving averages, how do you determine a trend change? Well, we can draw trend lines like this, or we can draw a flatter trend line like this. In both the first and second options, no matter how we draw it, it's clear that the coin is consolidating above. It's far from certain that there will be some kind of vertical movement right away when the trend changes, but when the trend does change, it means that the coin has stopped falling, so at the very least it will hang out in this sideways range for a bit. Yes, from that sideways movement it can then resume its trend and go down again, but we'll have to keep an eye on that. However, I still expect not just sideways movements for the altcoins and a drop back down. I'm expecting sideways movements for the altcoins and an altcoin season. The altcoin season implies a breakout upwards against Bitcoin. And where is the best place to enter if not at the reversal of a downtrend against Bitcoin? Nowhere. This is exactly where you need to enter. Dash. Classic Ether. Here it is. It's a bit weaker here than with Dash, and it seems like we could draw a trend line, suggesting that we haven't really exited the downtrend yet. But if we look at the previous highs and draw a trend line, we're currently at that trend level. However, that's not the main point. If the ascending lows hold, meaning if the price consolidates here, then that would indicate a breakout from the trend. We could set a stop loss somewhere to place it here. And the volumes too? If you pay attention to the volume, then high volumes at the bottom are a big plus. And Ethereum Classic hasn't taken off yet either. Yes, below the moving averages. Yeah, it's a tricky situation here because it's a bit different. If we draw a trend line based on the current highs, it seems like it will take quite a while to exit the downtrend. But the potential here is good. Let's move on. Litecoin has broken out of the downtrend. Volumes confirm the price exit. It might go sideways or drop lower, transitioning into sideways movement, making this the best entry point. Here's XLM and XRP. Once again, it might go sideways again or drop lower, but I think that right here, right now, after the downtrend has rounded off, you see it's kind of rounding and transitioning into a sideways movement. This is the best entry point. Speaking of coins that have taken off, this is what XLM looks like, and this is what XRP looks like. So where was the best entry point for XRP? So here, pay attention, there's the trend line, and there are the moving averages, and the coin is breaking out of its downtrend. What happens next? Well, yeah, it was just ranging here. The volatility pushed it back down again, but in the end, what did that lead to? To such a surge, to a sharp increase. Many coins are right around here, roughly in this area. XRP has already kind of set up this situation a while ago. I'm showing Monero here. As for Monero, you could say a unique setup is forming in the shape of a descending wedge. It's trading against the trend, breaking through resistance. That is, let's say Let's go out here. Let's go down even further. Even if it goes down, go out here. This is a great entry point for a long position. Well, since you can start accumulating now, I think it's a good idea to get in a bit early at more favorable prices for altcoins ahead of the upcoming alt season. So why not jump into Monero at these more acceptable levels and a little bit ahead of time? Yes, once again, this coin is not traded on top exchanges in the spot market due to its anonymity. But you can still take some positions here, for example, on perpetual futures. Once again, let's summarize. We're looking altcoins against Bitcoin. Moments when the trend reverses, that is, we draw trend lines. We also look at moving averages and look at the bottom pattern. If some bottom pattern is drawn, an exit from this pattern, a break in the trend line, an exit above the moving averages, this means that the coin has potentially broken its trend. It's not a fact that it will shoot up vertically right now, but at the very least, we can expect some sideways movement and the alt season will definitely take off. That's something we can guarantee. These are exactly the kinds of coins I recommend getting into. I've picked up some coins myself, you could say, as an exception to the rule rather than the rule itself, because for a number of other reasons they caught my eye. Well, something like Dash, or I don't know, maybe Ethereum Classic, why not pick some up? They look simply amazing and excellent. Litecoin is the same thing. Here are 3 examples that I recommend considering for purchase at the very least. I also promised to talk about a strategy with which these rules will yield good profits. So, this strategy is called staying in the trend, staying in the market. By following the simple rule of staying in the trend, you should really pay attention to the altcoins I've mentioned right now. And Bitcoin is currently in an uptrend, so sitting in USDT is pretty foolish. The trend isn't reversing here. There could just be some potential correction, varying degrees of depth. Yes, a correction will happen, but nothing serious will occur. You need to stay in the trend, and exiting during corrections is a bad idea. So, you should be in Bitcoin right now, either in a long position on Bitcoin or just buying it on the spot. With this strategy, you should definitely be in Bitcoin. The question is, when should we be in altcoins? When they outperform Bitcoin. So we need to look at altcoins against Bitcoin. If it has a downward trend, we don't look at the altcoin and we don't buy it. We only take altcoins at the moment when they show strength against Bitcoin, and right now, potentially, it can be above it, at least moving into some sideways trend, after which it will show strength. That's the bare minimum, but even when trading in this sideways market during such movements, altcoins can easily give you x2 or even more. So, by the way, take a look at the overall trading volumes of altcoins against Bitcoin. They are just colossal. And right now, you need to buy coins that are changing their trend against Bitcoin. So, if a coin is stronger than Bitcoin, for example, if Dash is rising against Bitcoin on this chart, and Bitcoin is rising against the dollar, it means that Dash will simply rise to the dollar faster. Or, in the case where Bitcoin is falling, Dash won't fall, or will fall at a much slower pace. And basically, if we catch such movements, we end up with more Bitcoin. Or, in the case where Bitcoin is falling, Dash won't fall, or will fall at a much slower pace. And basically, if we catch such movements, we end up with more Bitcoin. And if we end up with more Bitcoin, and Bitcoin itself is in an uptrend, we make a lot of money, and that's it. If the trend for Bitcoin changes from an uptrend to a globally downtrend, we will need to exit the market, including exiting from altcoins. So we look at the trend here against the dollar to see what Bitcoin is showing, and we look at the trends of altcoins against Bitcoin. And in such a strategy, yes, you need to use the rules that I just explained. And for the long term, I'm considering exactly this strategy, and I've already accumulated half of my altcoins based on it. I'll be adding to my position halfway when I see the beginning of the alt season. So right now, we're just at the very beginning. And the start will come after some kind of setup is formed and we break out with higher highs and higher lows from the trend. For now, we're barely moving out of the trend into a sideways market. When there is a sharp breakout with strength, it will indicate that the alt season has already begun. So right now, it's just starting to emerge, and when it really kicks off in the very, very early stage, I'll add to my altcoin holdings with the remaining half. For now, those are my thoughts. Subscribe to the channel and check out my social media links below. Telegram, Instagram, there's more content there, and it's updated more quickly. By the way, I also share my trades there more promptly. Good luck!